That is about curriculum vitae of our first speaker, Professor Dr. Syahrul Nizam bin Yaakob. To Dr. Syahrul Nizam bin Yaakob, you may present your presentation. Start by now, please. So, Mr. Syahrul, you may start now.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You may start.
Is it okay?
Okay.
All right. So, so for today, I'm gonna present to all of us to share some of my thought on this field. And the titles here is about, I call it artificial intelligence. It's a brief review on the learning algorithm. Well, it's a quite very general, a little bit on the title, but let's have some sharing here. Anyway, so what I'm going to do, the content of my presentations, I will start by first take a look at the definitions, and then after that we try to look at some of the history about the learning algorithm within the fields of artificial intelligence, and after that the final part will be some related issue. All right, not that much actually. Anyway, so there are several algorithm in the fields of AI. For instance, soft computing. You can find it. This is some of the. Can everyone hear me? Isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The sound is very clear.
Okay. Now, for the soft computing, the definition given is like the use of inexact solution to computational hard tasks for which there is no known algorithm that can compute an exact solution in polynomial time. Wow. But let's take a look at other term. Or sometimes we heard about the word machine learning, isn't it? Which is scientific study of algorithms and statistical models that computer system use to effectively perform a specific task without using explicit instruction, relying on patterns and inference instead. Another. But if you take a look at the whole sentence, I try to highlight the blue color, some meaningful words. But anyway, we're going to take a look at after this. The next word that normally people use to describe these learning algorithms and AIs are such field, which is a computational intelligence. By definitions, it's mean the ability of computer to learn a specific task from the data or experimental observation. Actually, I prefer this this word actually, computational intelligence. It's very concise and the definition is there rather than the long word to describe everything altogether. But anyway, it depends. Sometimes people prefer to use the long word to describe things, but for me, I prefer a simple word to describe everything. And right, and the artificial intelligence itself, definitions given is any device that perceive its environment and take action that maximize its chance of successfully achieving its goal. Well, maybe some of you have more experience than me in this field, but since when I was first introduced these fields, the AI fields back then in 1999, like 21 years ago, the first word come to my they exposed me the word with artificial intelligence back then in 1999 when I was in undergraduate back then. After that, the word keeps on coming. But in general, we still can understand what are they trying to give to us. Let's take a look at what happened. So because of many words and definitions given, I come up with my own actually. So what happened is I try to combine machine learning and then the computational intelligence and soft computing. And then why not? They come up with the word like this, soft computational, soft machine intelligence, isn't it? But it depends, it's just my thought actually. I combine all together. And then the definition I come about myself, actually I introduced myself, which is scientific study of algorithms and statistical models that make a computer system to learn specific tasks from data or experimental observations without using explicit instruction, but relying on patterns and inference instead. But what happened here, actually, I combine everything and become one. But anyway, we can accept it or not. The most important thing here is when we talk about AI, the first thing come to our mind is that it's about algorithms. It's a programming algorithms that makes our system capable of solving a problem, and without using a specific one equation rather than one equation. And important thing is relying on patterns and inference. Wow, a lot of definitions and words here. But I hope that everyone here can grasp the things that I like to share. That one day, who knows, another person will come about a new definitions. But the thing is, the core of the whole word is actually the still remain. Right. So we can say that if we have a set of artificial intelligence here, we can have fuzzy logic, soft computation, machine learning, whatever you want to call it, evolutionary methods and others. And we also need to concern about the input and output, and the rest of it, we call it artificial intelligence. As long as we use the algorithm to achieve whatever goals that we set. But don't worry, my slide is quite, at the moment, is quite very general. Now, before I go further, let's take a look at some of the history. I tried to pick some important finding, the history of the finding, rather than go everything. So maybe some of you interest in some specific methods, but I will not mention here. It's okay, don't be bothered, right? Okay, let's take a look at some of the history that I picked up from the literature. Okay, the first one, as far as we try to find when actually humans start to think about this algorithm and AI actually. Now, the furthest that I can find is back in 1913, where Mr. Bertrand Russell and Alfred North Whitehead, they come about with formal logic back in 1913. These two guys, and during the World War II, In 1943, Warren Sergis McCulloch and Walter Pitts, they laying foundation for artificial neural network, which nowadays a lot of people use it. During this 1943, if you take a look at the time there, it's about a World War II. And what happened actually during this time, there are two groups actually working. The first group is actually working on the microprocessor, and the other group is actually working, we call it ANN. And both of this group actually try to come about what is best solution in doing automations, computing automations. For instance, during this war, when there's artillery, they want to fire to the enemy, they have to calculate so many input or parameters. So they need to, they want to invent machine that can calculate for them. So this is one of the reasons why they have a computer, which is, for example, laptop that we are using right now. And the other fields is the artificial neural networks. That's 1943 back then. And then at the same time, 1943, theory of games and economic behavior by mathematician John von Neumann and Oscar Morgenstern. Now, just to add for all of us, that John von Neumann actually, in physics, people call John von Neumann is a father of modern computer processor. Why? He is the first person actually who come about. If you know about how to design a processor, we use a finite state machine, remember? Now, this finite state machine is important when we want to design a CPU, control processing unit of a processor. So John von Neumann is the first one who come the idea of a finite state machine. Actually, it was used in a nuclear bomb, actually, that bombed the Japan. But anyway, and then in 1950, Alan Turing come up with introduced the Turing test to measure of machine intelligence. And after that, Marvin Minsky, temporal difference learning, which is the early versions of reinforcement learning. I don't know, maybe today someone will be presenting regarding the reinforcement learning, maybe. And then in 1959, John McCarthy and Marvin Minsky, they founded the MIT AI lab, which is a long time ago, isn't it? 1959. And after that, in 1957, Richard E. Bellman published a Markovian decision process. Nowadays, a lot of people also, I believe, using Markovian decision process, maybe. And then, 1960, John Hall, the first one who introducing the genetic algorithms for, especially for optimization, isn't it, nowadays used. And then 1963, John H. Howard Jr. introducing the hierarchical clustering. During my PhD time, I used some of the features of hierarchical clustering in order to come, in order for me to come up with a new, not actually new, I enhanced some of the algorithms. I combined several algorithms, including the clustering, hierarchical clustering techniques. And then in 1963, support vector machine algorithm was invented by these two persons, Vladimir and Alexei. I believe this sounds like Eastern Europe, isn't it? And then, of course, 1965, fuzzy logic proposed. Fuzzy logic proposed by the late Lutfi Zadeh. It's from Iran. He's passed away, I believe, just passed away just recent years. I think like 2 years, just the late 2 years, I believe. And then 1985, the Bayesian network by the Judy Pearl, and then and colony algorithms by Marco Dorigo. And actually, he's written during his PhD thesis. And nowadays, I've seen a lot of papers or writings that use or perhaps further enhance this algorithm. And of course, the famous K-nearest neighbor algorithm by Madam Naomi Altman. And 1995, particle swarm optimization by these three persons, James Kennedy, Russell E. Everett, and she. Anyway, if you take a look at all the histories way back then, and during the 60, 70, especially 70 and 80, there's a lot of contribution that kick off this contribution toward the AI, especially because the computer technology is increased and the computational power also increased. Therefore, people can start write more complex algorithms, isn't it? And we are very thankful to all these persons. And hopefully one day, who knows, I can add more timeline there, maybe some good technique from Indonesia or perhaps any country, especially in Southeast Asia, isn't it? Who knows? Hopefully. Or maybe one day our grandchild, can code one of our name, maybe someone from Southeast Asian, especially Indonesians, hopefully, isn't it? Anyway, all right. So what are the issues that I like to just sharing in this morning? The first one is what? Online learning capability. Now, don't worry, I will try to share and explain to you what I mean by online learning capability here. All right. And then we're going to take a look at what the definition, what I try to bring here about black box, and some of the commodizations issue. And last but not least, after that, we're going to take a look at the new trend. Some of the new trend involving in the AI field from my perspective. It may be correct, and some of you maybe agree, and some of you maybe disagree, but it's okay. It's a sharing session, isn't it? Right. The first one is about online learning capability. Now we know that most AI algorithm can learn the input. But what I mean by online learning, the word online learning here. Now, by definition, what does online learning means? Once the input pattern data is used, that input or pattern will never use or never need it again anymore. That's what it means. Again, online learning. Now we know that there's a lot of algorithm in AI field that can be used to learn the input. But the problem is, it's a batch learning. Well, I'll go through to that. I'll go to detail to that. Now, and the online learning capability, we can take based on the algorithm. I try to divide the algorithm based on sequential learning algorithm like reinforcement learning, radial basis function neural network, deep learning neural network, some of it actually, and spiking neural and several others, right? And the other is called non-sequential learning algorithm like support Bayesian network or fuzzy neural network. Now, what does it mean by these two sequential learning algorithm or non-sequential learning algorithm? Now, sequential learning algorithm mean that if you have an input of t, therefore whatever the output produced by the during the process of calculation of this input T, we have to look at the previous input. It's always relate to the previous input. So that means sequential learning. And for the non-sequential learning mean that the current input calculation does not have direct calculation of the previous input. All right. So that's what I try to share with you here, the difference between sequential learning algorithm and non-sequential learning algorithm. Right? The sequential means that the current input calculation must involve directly with the previous input, while the non-sequential learning algorithm means that the current input pattern calculation does not involve directly to the previous input pattern, right? So I hope you can grasp the idea what's the difference sequential learning and algorithm. So sequential learning and non-sequential learning. So online learning capability normally is an issue of in the non-sequential learning algorithm. Now with the sequential learning algorithm, for example, like reinforcement learning, if you have experience using reinforcement learning, it's not a problem because the mechanism of the whole algorithm itself is always what I call learning process, even though it's in testing phase. But for non-sequential learning algorithm, there's an issue here, especially for those who have experience using, I believe all of you maybe perhaps using it multi-layer perceptron-based neural network, whereas, we have to learn the input pattern first in batch. That's the problem. Anyway, we're going to take a look at these issues in detail further. All right. Okay. Normally, as I mentioned previously, the online learning capability is an issue for non-sequential learning algorithm. So what does it mean? Now, for example, if you are using a multi-layer based perceptron type of neural network, there are many of them. So I just group it as an MLP based neural network. All right. Now, normally you have offline mode where what happens is that you have a training phase where there's many epoch, depends on your technique. Right? So you train it first and then you test so that you try to make sure that your input maybe up to 99% is being remembered by the algorithm. Then you stop, isn't it? That's what happened. So normally 99.9%, then you stop the training for that neural networks, MLP based especially. And then after that, during the online mode, then you can test it. This is what happened during the for the non-sequential learning algorithm. Right? Okay. Now what happened is that if you, let's say the system, if you want to introduce again a new input, therefore you have to go back to the offline learning and you have to extract the previous input pattern and then retrain together in order to get the network or the system ready. So that's what happened for online learning. For this non-sequential learning algorithm. Again, I give an example. For example, if you have a touch screen, attendance using a thumbprint. All right. Now let's say we have 10 staff. Then we have to gather all these 10 staff and then train it to the system, the thumbprint. Now what happens that the system will remember the raw data and then they have the algorithm inside and then train it. That's it. Now after that you can use for this 10 person. Let's say suddenly you have a new staff, therefore new person coming. So what happened? you train again the system of then this new start time frame. Now, what happened inside of the system? They have to recall back the 10 data plus the extra one, and then retrain again. So what happened is that this takes time for the system to train. The issue here, without the online learning mechanism, therefore the system takes more time to be trained with a new pattern. That's what I mean. All right. I hope that most of us here can grasp the idea that I want to share here. But non-sequential learning algorithm with yes online learning capability. What happened is that the same thing during offline, it can be used for offline too, where we can train the input pattern and test the target to make sure that everything will be remembered. But for the online mode, you still can train. But what happened is that if I choose the same example for the offline mode, now the time required to train this system is less. Why? Because the system itself do not have to remember all the previous input pattern. Therefore, the system will not have to remember all the database, the input database. They don't have to, they can delete all this data. So what happened? The process become shorter. So that's what online learning mode. Right? I have to look at what to make sure that within 40 minutes. Right? So that's what I mean by online learning algorithm. So this is the one of the issue, and rarely, very rarely in any paper research focusing on this issue, which is quite sad because nowadays a lot of applications require online learning capability, because if you want to really up to full automations in AI, this online learning capability is a must. Anyway, now what's the why? As I mentioned, less update issue. All right, non-stationary system, meaning that like a time, when the system is outside somewhere, you don't have to send works to update the system and everything, so it can update itself. That's what I mean by non-stationary system, which is less update issue. And it become higher system efficiency, although some situation might be not considered, but most of the time it influence much about the accuracy of the system. And also, because of this online learning capability, sometimes it comes with understanding of input characteristic, more understanding of the input characteristic. And of course, it reduces time for online mode for training. Right? So that is the first problem, all right? So the first issues that I tried talk about. And the second one is a black box. Right? Now, what do I mean by black box? Some people already knew, some of you maybe don't know, perhaps. Now, what is the black box? Black box, because when I look at again some of the recent papers, they start to forget about this issue. What is the black box? Why is that the black box actually, before we go to the black box, normally in the black box, we talk about white box or black box, we talk about why such algorithm, including the structure provided, can produce an output for a given input. Right? And so in the black box problem, normally we talk about why multi-layer perceptron, for example, I've used the old technique actually, produce a given output provided by the input. Normally, even the researcher can't give exact words or explain proper explanations to the related people. So because MLP, for example, NLP here, neural network is a black box in the sense that while it can approximately any function, studying its structure won't give you any insight on the structure of the function being approximate. Well, that's a tough word actually used. Anyway, what does that mean is we cannot explain exactly why a neural networks or any AI actually provide or given an output providing an input. Now, some of you say, we can explain why MLP this because the bias, the weight and everything, the activation function and so on and so forth. But that is not the direct explanation. What the people are doing that is indirect explanations. There's no direct explanations. Right? So that is what meaning by black box. Right? So same goes to rule extraction. That's why if you, maybe some of you already knew, people start to research on rule extraction in the AI techniques, where the algorithm can extract rules, but still a problem. Why? Because people, when you come about can extract the rule from the algorithm, then the question goes, why you can extract the rule from the algorithm? Right? So still a problem, this black box issue. But because of, I don't know, based on my finding, there's still an issue, especially neural networks algorithm, right? Especially those who are working with the technique involving based on multi-layer perceptron type of neural network. Okay. Now, however, though, there are applications that require system with no black box, right? There are applications that doesn't care whether it's a black box or not. Depends. So it doesn't mean that the black box is an issue, therefore we cannot use neural network. No, that's not necessary. There are applications that can accept whether it's a black box or not, as long as the algorithm is effective. That's it. Now let's take a look at some of the application. But here the application that cannot have an algorithm with a black box issue. For example, medical applications, where the can explain, the algorithm can explain why the output is given from the input. For example, like medical application, we talk about human life here. Therefore, we cannot have level uncertainty, because the word black box means uncertainty, right? So we cannot have that in medical application because we talk about a life, human life here. Or in military application. However, though, military application, we can still argue some military application, they don't care. For example, as far as I can remember, they are, of course, they are using in the early versions of controlling the F-22 Raptor maneuver. So they use some sort of ENN algorithm. That is I can confirm to you. But which algorithm I don't know actually. All right. But they still can use. But some military application, they are restricted and must be designer, engineer can explain why the algorithm react on such behavior. Right? Or perhaps in business application, the CEO perhaps need to know why, we predict such market. Why? You need to explain. We cannot just, the system can predict this is high, this is low. Wait, why? Provide the explanations, right? All right. But, okay. So that's one issue. All right? I have 10 more minutes. I tried also to take a look at some of the commercialized issues, not issue or aspect of AI. Right? So first, I like to go for top companies that employ AI. Of course, the Amazon, right? Alexa, if you maybe know, there's tools, speakers you will know worldwide. But I don't know. Recently, I heard that this this product has gone down, this Alexa, but it employed the AI, which is language assistant. Right? And then we have another Amazon Web Services, AWS, right? And of course, actually there are many company employ AI, but I try to grab some of the big company here. Of course, Apple use a lot of AI in his phone and hardware that they are selling around the world. Right? And if you know about Siri, which is company create is a tool for Mac OS and iOS developers, right? That inside of it there are AI algorithms that we can use. Right? And Banjo was funded for both. Right? Now, this Banjo is actually for the government. This company normally focus on the government sector. So use AI to search a social media, right? To monitor for the prospect terrorists at that time, right? And then DJI, maybe some of you have drone in your house, developed by DJI. Right? We know that 70% of the global drone market is controlled by the DJI, and some of it, and most of it is quite expensive. And inside of it, for example, the AI and image recognition to avoid object and many things, right? And Facebook, no, all people here perhaps have the Facebook account. For example, Facebook AI research group known as FAIR says it's committed to advancing the field of machine intelligence and developing new technologies. Right. And of course, the big company of Google. Most of the time we use it to Google something, isn't it? All right, the largest, most important AI company in the world. Now, but this is not quite famous actually, but the Google, they have their own machine system, which is known as TensorFlow, which now open source free for all. Even they create their chips, the Tensor AI chip for project for machine learning on the devices. But it's not quite famous here in Southeast Asian region, but it's okay. So that's some of the company. And there's also Intel. I like a few couple of minutes. Even Watson, IBM create for Watson, and the Chinese company Huawei also employ AI technology very heavily. So these are some of the company. Right. In terms of commercialization, right? My point of view is we need to think about what AI skill that the people need to have, what kind of problem that they can use. Now, even though in Southeast Asian, for example, actually, if you want to make like one big huge company like Apple or Facebook or even Microsoft, it's quite tough. So normally what we did is we make a module for the AI and then we sell it based on a module, and then we sell it to the company. That's what we did, isn't it? Instead of creating the whole company, we can create a module. For example, if you're an algorithm, you make a small module. Module means a set of code, and then you sell it to the huge company. That's what we did. Practically, with the Southeast Asian region, normally that's what we did. We are not developing the whole because of our market situation here. And then create company to sell module to direct. Yes. Time is up.
No, sir. Still have 10 or 10 minutes left.
10 minutes left. Okay. Okay.
10 minutes left.
10 minutes left. Okay. So again, for me though, of course, because I am from the academic world, I always use researcher not necessarily have to be a business or entrepreneur minded. That's what I was thinking. Now, because for example, back then in 1960 something, when people, for example, create this when NASA, United States, create the programs Apollo, for example. Now, the rocket itself, to control the rocket, they employ not less than 10,000 programmers at a time. Now, these 10,000 programmers, they are researchers, but they are not entrepreneurs. What I try to highlight here means that if you talk about like Bill Gates or John Bezos or the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, for example, they are one in a million or billion maybe. We cannot get that kind of people too often. That's why I come about that researcher not necessarily to have a businessman minded. That's why sometimes I didn't agree if the government give us if the government give a grant for research grant, for instance, they expect some kind of back in terms of money, which is wrong. If you take a look at the Western country, I use the word Western country, United States or other Europe country, the government has spent billions and billions of money for the research grant purposes. I'm not talking million, billion. And yet, there is no such, they don't measure that directly. What is the commercialized value or output that they can get? Suppose it's not the main issue, although maybe some of you not agree, but I'm talking based on the fact what happened in the Western world. The government doesn't necessarily say, oh, how much do you get for commercialization? No, they will not. As long as the knowledge is created and more people is involved, that is the main idea. For instance, the particle collisions, the developed in Europe, for example, how many billion was put to the whole project, and yet how many billions come in terms of commercialization? No, at this time around, and yet they still pouring more money to that project. That's what I mean. But okay, if you're doing research because it's a commercial value, it's all right. But it's not good to say, I mean, it's not totally correct if you want to say research must always relate to business or entrepreneur. I'm not that agree. But it can be, just to make sure I'm not 100% rejecting the idea to relate entrepreneurship with a researcher. I'm not rejecting 100%, but most of the time it's not applicable to the researcher. That's what I mean. Now, last but not least, maybe some of the top trends in the AI, the way I perceive, it's my personal point of view based on my readings. I divided on some 5 maybe here. I pick up some 5 top trends in the AI in general. The first one is the AI-enabled chips. Now, even though the AI-enabled chip is not new things, back then people still we still have this Pentium 1, should I say. At the time, people already talk about AI chips, but nowadays, because the power of the chip itself has become greater and greater, then people are start talking to develop AI chips again, right? And of course, and the AI used for the Internet of Things, the IoT. Every day nowadays, most of the time, whether you like it or not, we use internet to do conversations, especially this COVID-19 problem here. We cannot go around too much. And so what happened? We order fruits and everything using the web-based or internet type of communications. So it's very important. And when it's grow, to process it will require a lot of AI. And of course, automated machine learning, no, IR 4.0 increasing, and it also not a new thing. Automated machine learning is an old thing, but as the time goes on, the demand, especially in the private sector, it's grow up. But I don't know, because this year it's quite different, because this year we have COVID-19 and the economy, the data from the economy, it's not that the real economy, right? I'm not talking about financial economy. The real economy is not that, in terms of engineering, it's not that good, but I'm not sure, right? And of course, cloud computing, right? AI and cloud computing, nowadays people use cloud. Cloud computing is actually it's an old thing, but the new terms, right? Region wide, I mean, they try to making a new word for it, cloud computing. And last but not least, the AI cybersecurity, because as user of internet become bigger and bigger, all right, a lot of people come, new generation come in, and the cybersecurity also is concerned. And nowadays people start to embed the AI algorithm to the security algorithms, right? It can be how many layers you have it. People become smarter, and we need to create a system that's smarter than the people who want to hijack or do bad things terrible to the system, right? So I think that's all my presentations today. I hope that everyone here can get some of the idea, some of the information that I tried to share. Maybe some of you agree, maybe someone not, it's okay. I think that's all. So I'm giving back the sessions to the chairperson then.
Thank you for Mr. Shaul for amazing presentations. So ladies and gentlemen, the questions and answer sessions will be opened in the end of the after all the sessions. I mean, after all the presenters presents their presentations. So you can make note, you can type your questions on the chat, and later on the end of the sessions, all the presenters will answer your questions. So this is the end of the presentations from Dr. Sharul. So we move to the second sessions, to the second presenters. It will be Dr. Tanawit. And Dr. Tanawit's presentation will be moderated by my partner, Miss Elsera. So this is the end of my part. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your questions. I have not some questions here. So that's all. Thank you. And let my partner, Miss Elsera, lead the next sessions. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Tadi udah saya ngapain tadi? Bu Elsa kan? Elsera. Dah. Loh. Jangan di-unmute ya, Bu. Jangan di-unmute ya, Bu.
Can you hear me?
Sudah?
Commute lagi. Sudah.
Sudah, Bu.
Bisa Pak kedengaran. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speakers and distinguished guests, good morning. Beforehand, let me introduce myself. I am Elsera from Polytechnic Cendana, Medan, one of vocational college in Medan University, North Sumatra, Indonesia. It's such a great honor to have this opportunity to be the moderator of this ICASI 2020, the third ICASI has held. On these sessions, we will have the presentations from Dr. Tanawit Bunsit, and he is having short biography. Let me explain to you in a glance. So Dr. Tanawit Bunsit, he is now positioned as the head of economic department since 2014 in Taksin University in Thailand. His latest academic qualifications in 2017 that he finished his PhD study in economics at University of Bath, United Kingdom. He has done many projects and publications in both national and international scope, and we do believe he is still working on more as his dedications to the state. He also has been invited as selected presenter and guest lecturer and also keynote speaker in many occasions, sharing his experience and knowledges. Since 2008, worldwide from the continent of Asia, Europe, and Australia. Today, he will present the topic of digital society for economic and social development in Thailand. Let me repeat once again the topic, digital society for economic and social development in Thailand. Without further ado, let's welcome our honorable guest speaker for this session, Dr. Tanamit Bunsit, to deliver his presentation. Dr. Tanamit Bunsit, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I share the screen now. Okay. Okay, thank you very much for inviting me to join this conference. I'm very glad to be here. It's a shame. I would like to be in Medan, but it's impossible at the moment because of the COVID-19. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, the committee, and thank you everyone to join this session. Okay, so my presentation is, can you see my PowerPoint? Is it okay?
Yes.
The voice is clear?
Clear.
Yes,
Yes,
clear.
sir, yes.
Yes, clear.
Okay, good. So my topic is digital society for economic and social development in Thailand. I'm not sure how many of you have been to Thailand. Do you know Thailand?
Yes, yes, sure.
Okay, I think most of you have been to Thailand, to maybe the south of Thailand or in Bangkok. So nowadays in Thailand, we are trying to move on to digital society. And now at the moment, we have a new Ministry of Digital Society for Economic and Social Development. Okay, let's start with, I want to start with this quote that is, 90% of CEOs believe the digital economy will take their industry, but less than 15% are executing on a digital strategy. So you can see that everybody knows that digital is very important, digital economy is important, but very few people that think about implement or executing on digital strategy, how we can do it, how we can manage it. You can see that COVID is a good test for our how we use digital society. Because, for example, at the university or at the school, when we have COVID-19, it's quite hard for us to continue, and we have to think about how we can use digital to help us. Okay, so I will give you a little bit of background about Thailand. So I think most of you know a little bit about Thailand. Thailand now we have almost 70 million, about 69 point, now is increasing a little bit in 2020, about 69 point, almost 7 million. And 52% of people live in the city, in big city like Bangkok or other big city in the north and in the south like Phuket or Chiang Mai. And can you believe it? It's 55 million people have mobile users, and everybody have to register for it, so we can have their database on how people use their mobile. And the internet user, 57 million of people using internet. And out of that, 51 million using social media, for example, Facebook or Twitter or Line. So you can see that we are a big group of people using social media, using internet in Thailand. So digital society is not really far from Thailand. We are now in digital society already. So before we moving to digital society, in the past, we are not really, Thailand, we are based on agriculture. So we are moving we call it now, it's a government model for economic development. So we move from Thailand 1.0 to Thailand 4.0. Have you heard about this? I'm not sure you hear about this plan, but this is our government plan to develop our country. So the Thailand 4.0, we call it, the plan is for prosperity, security, and sustainability. So let's move back to Thailand 1.0. What is it? So 1.0, we based on agriculture. So we produce lots of agricultural products and we export lots of products to many countries around the world. And then we move on to the next step is Thailand's 2.0. So this step, we try to improve our economy using light industry, for example, textile industry. We are good at this industry and we export a lot of product as well to replace the loss of agricultural products. We try to increase our income of the country. And then we move to the next step to Thailand 3.0 to heavy industry. And this level, this step, we increase our country, we develop our country, our economy into the middle income, but we cannot move forward to the next level. We get trapped to the middle income trap, and lots of problems happen during this step. Lots of inequality, lots of imbalance, lots of disparity between people of country. So now the government have a new plan to put on the digital society into this Thailand 4.0. Thailand 4.0 is focused on creativity, innovative or value-added, value-based industry. So it's really important for our society to learn, to know, to improve our digital technology to match to the government model. So in this plan for the Thailand 4.0, the main five main industries for this, the first one is food, agriculture, and biotechnology. So this one is very important because we are based on agriculture, but we try to improve the productivity of our crop productions. For example, the lots of crops, lots of rice, palm, and lots of agricultural products we have already, but we want to increase the productivity and the effectiveness of production. The second industry is health and wellness and biomedicine. So this one is another important main industry that the government plan to focus on. And we plan to be the hub of the medicine, the medical hub of Southeast Asia. And the third one is the digital Internet of Things and embedded technology. So this one is very important as well at the moment and in the future. And during COVID-19 as well, we use a lot of digital technology to solve the problem. And the fourth one is smart devices, robotics, and mechatronics. And this one is very important for our lots of production, lots of every industry. We use lots of robotics. We try to train lots of our people to be can we use smart devices, the robotics and mechatronics lots of university now have courses on mechatronics engineering. And the last one is creative culture and high value services. So this one is our main income as well for Thailand. You know that Thailand we have lots of tourists visiting Thailand every year, and so we got lots of income from our tourism, from our creative and culture, lots of homestay tourism, ecotourism. So now we try to use this and using digital society to help uh, enhance this sector as well. Any questions so far? Everybody is okay? You follow? Okay, so I just want to go to COVID-19 a little bit. I want to show you some what happened in Thailand. You know that Thailand now I think we are quite good in control the COVID-19 in Thailand. But during the last couple of months, we are completely in digital society. The first thing is online classroom, especially primary school, high school. So we use online classroom already during the last 2 months. So this is I think it's very useful that we can use we can use digital technology to help our education. So students, they can continue their study even they can stay at home. And the second one is the work from home, online meeting, conference that we are doing now. So I think you can use in every country, in Indonesia as well, in Thailand. But in Thailand, during a couple of months, I did 2 conferences already in Thailand. So we use the online conference using Zoom, and some conferences using WebEx, some conferences using Microsoft Teams. So it depends on the conference. It's very useful when it works. And the third one is during COVID-19 in Thailand is another thing that we can control and monitor what's going on during COVID-19 is customer database and tracking system. We call it Thai Chana application. Chana in Thai means win. So we said that we're gonna win against the COVID-19. So this application can track all the customer whatever you go. So the customer, every time you want to enter the restaurant or any shopping mall or any place, so people have to scan the barcode and to check in before they getting in the place, and then check out before they get out of the restaurant or any place in the whole country doing this. So we can track that if someone get infected, so we can get that where did they go and how many people went there at that time, so we can track and control people. Very effective. This is very effective application that is being used, and now it's continue using now. And at the moment, even we go to the temple, to the mosque, or to different places in Thailand, we have to use this system, the Thai China application. I can keep database of customers and people moving around. The last, another one is contactless payment. So this, I think you are used to this as well, but during this COVID-19, we using this digital technology even more, and we use all for shopping because lots of people during, for example, in March, in April, people are very scared using the banknotes. So they really don't want to touch the notes because that the note can have some infected of the COVID coronavirus. So we use the credit card or the mobile phone and use contactless system for the payment. So this is very useful, and this one can be continue using after COVID as well. the important one, this one, you know, is very important for our life. It's online shopping and food delivery. So if you come to Thailand, maybe later or maybe now, if, I'm not sure, I think it's difficult now, but later you will see. Sorry, can you?
Untuk semua dulu, berarti open yang kedua.
Okay, so you can see the online shopping and food everywhere in Thailand. The most common one is Food Panda. So when people want to order food online, so normally Food Panda now is number one, and the Grab Food or other company, but the Food Panda is a fast-growing company in Thailand now. They have lots of customers at the moment. Another one is the telemed or telemedicine. So because you cannot go to everybody maybe cannot go to hospital at the moment, not all can have a chance to go, and the doctor is very busy with the COVID-19. So lots of patients, they can do the tele communication to the doctor and can talk and get consult with their doctors via telemedicine system in Thailand. So now the government invests lots of money for this, and the Ministry of Health will continue using this. Even we don't have COVID, we continue using this, so it can help people can access to healthcare wherever they are. They can be in a very remote area and they can use this. Okay, so the Ministry of Digital Economy and Society is a new ministry, and this one is we set this ministry for to support, to encourage, and to push digital society to help develop our economy and our society. And this ministry set the fund, we call Fund for Digital Economy and Society. This fund is for two objectives. The first one is to support and encourage government agencies, private organizations, or individuals to develop digital technology to improve our socio-economic development. The second one is funding for research and development. So every organization, the private or government or researcher, anyone can apply for funding to develop the digital technology. So this ministry is work so hard now to try to push, to transform our country to be our society. Okay, the purpose of our this digital society of the ministry try to focus on four main objectives. The first one is to increase the competitiveness to other countries. So we want to increase the competitiveness of our SMEs of businesses in the country. Second one is they aim for the social equality. So everybody in Thailand, even they are in rural area, they are poor or they are in very remote area, they can access to digital technology and they can access to database, they access to information, knowledge, and any healthcare, any access to all facility. The government will provide all facility to the people. And personal development. So everybody, even they live in the tribe people, the minorities people, the poor people, they can develop themselves, they can learn e-learning from digital development. And the last one is the governance revolution. So this ministry, they aim to reform the government process, the operation, more effective, quicker, give the service to people. Okay, to do that, there are 6 strategies in Thailand. So this is a very good strategy. The first one is a digital infrastructure development. So nowadays, this Ministry of Digital for Economy and Society, they try to want to make sure that every part in Thailand, all 77 provinces in Thailand have a infrastructure and very ready to be implemented all digital um, policy. So we have efficiency and outreach to all provinces, all area in Thailand, even in rural, in little village. And the second strategy is to drive the economy using digital technology. So using digital technology, the government try to support and encourage SMEs in, for example, the OTOP or one Tambon, one product, or one Tambon is mean district. So one sub-district, one product. So the government try to all the small village to produce their own products and then try to help them to do e-marketing, to put digital marketing for them. The community enterprises. So when lots of villages together, they can make community enterprises and create economic impact on the village level. And the digital startups. The digital startups are very important in Thailand now. It's quite booming now, and there are 3 startups that is very successful. The first one is e-logistics. You know that during even before COVID as well, e-logistics is quite popular now and very growing so fast. But during COVID, it's going even faster. Why? E-logistics in Thailand is very growing very fast. The first one is because in Thailand now we have a lot of shopping, online shoppers. About 11 million people are online shoppers in Thailand, so it's a big market. And we have new online SMEs, at least 15,000 online SMEs during this couple of years. And then another last thing is Thai people, about 65% of online shoppers, they prefer cash on delivery. So they like to buy things online and then they can pay cash when they pick up their product. So this is the first startup that is very successful. Second one is e-commerce and fintech. So lots of lots of fintech company, lots of fintech startups, e-commerce startup happened during this COVID-19. And if you go, for example, if you go to Bangkok, you go to SkyTrain, you go to underground, the metro, you will see Rabbit card, and you can use to get to. You don't have to pay by cash, or you can use a card. You pop up money linked to your bank account, and you can get in and out the mass transportation very easily. Also, company is successful now doing e-commerce and fintech, like 2C transaction. Everything is very easy now. And the last one is search engine. This one is very popular. Maybe some of you know about this. If you come to Thailand and you want to order food, Thai people, we like eating. We have lots of delicious food. Thai food, right? What you know? Tom yum.
Tom yum.
Okay, spicy salad, yes, spicy food, lots of seafood. So you go to Wong Nai. If you come to Thailand, you search Wong Nai. So it's very useful search engine. So this one, you can order food, you can find what kind of food that you want to eat and where to go, and you can deliver as well. So this one is an example of good startups in Thailand. Third strategy is preparing learning society using digital technology. So we want everybody to be the digital technology to be accessibility. Everybody can access. And also we want people to aware, to be conscious when they use technology. During COVID-19, lots of scam, lots of people try to make a fake website, fake apps to get money from people. So we want people to know, to learn about this, how to use digital technology safely, and to be more creative, to be more responsible users. So this one we want to give more training, more information for people in Thailand to be a responsible user. And strategy 4 is about the digital governance. So the government have to do have to be transparency. For example, during this COVID-19, the government have the policy to compensate some money, some subsidy to the businesses and people who have got the impact from COVID-19. So we have lots of apps. The government had the application for people to apply, register, and then get money direct to their account. So the government had to be transparent for this, and lots of policy after this to give money to the farmers, to provide some money for even more for to students, some loans to the new companies, new startups. So it's a big budget of the government. It's a million baht. So we have to be set the digital governance very transparent, effective service, and open. The data is have to be open to everyone. So when we open the data to everyone, it's very transparent, and people can participate, can monitor the what happened, the budget that the government use. So this strategy is very useful and very important for this at the moment in this digital society. And number 5, manpower development for digital economy and society. So we still need more knowledge about digital technology. We need to train our people to have knowledge, to have skills, specialization in this field, because we don't have enough of people that knows about this in details in all dimensions, all sectors. So we need more innovation. We need more new businesses to increase our GDP, our income. And the last one is we need to build confidence of people, of company, of businesses, of all sectors using digital technology. So we need, now we try to endorse a new digital law. We try to do the standardization, laws of security is going on. So I hope that the digital law is going to be complete soon, so we can use this to make sure that it's safe for everyone to be in digital society, because lots of people in, for example, in the old generation in rural areas, they don't want to be in digital society. They prefer in the conservative way of doing things. So we want to make sure that it's safe, we have protection for them. And finally, the government try to push all the businesses or the in academia or in practical practitioners to be going to the direction of digitality or digitality. So this one is, we want to make sure that everybody, all businesses, all new company can use digital wisely, effectively, and they can transform their business, their company to use digital wisely, not just fashionista, or not just use digital to be just follow the trends or just follow other people, or we don't want people to be just conservative. It's too late. It's very important. It's not, we cannot be conservative anymore. We cannot use the simple method of payment. We cannot stick to that anymore. We have to move on to the world and the digital economy. We have to move on to digital society. Why? Because from the research of in MIT, we found that if all the businesses move to elite digital society, so we can increased the profitability about 26%. So it's a lot of increase for the whole company, and then the market valuation can be increased 12%. This is from all the research of the MIT. So I think it's our government want to make sure that our plan, the 6 strategy, will become implement and people can follow that. What's next? So next, I think the digital society is our new normal. So next month, our university will be opened, and then lots of university have to do online classroom, and we have to do lots of online thing, lots of digital work. So digital society is not old anymore. It's not something that is strange. It's going to be our new normal. And the digital is embedded in our social and economic activities. For example, we have a meeting online, we have a conference online, we have the farming, digital farming. So digital farming, the government in Thailand spend a lot of money, invest lots of money for digital farming as well. So you can use digital technology to increase the productivity of agriculture. And the last one is digital transformation is essential. In many countries, digital transformation is happening already in Europe, in America, it's happened last 2 years ago, but in Thailand, it's still slow now. So we have to make sure that we can transform all the business and the society to be digital, bit by bit, little bit, and until everybody can use digital for their economic activities, for their social life. So, okay, thank you very much. I hope you get something, and let's discuss later.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Thanawet Bunsit, for the informative and interesting talk about how Thailand developed but the social digital society. Then let me summarize a little bit before we go to the next session, and remind all participants once again that questions is open in the room chat, and also you can ask directly later on question and answer section. So the short summarize what I can get is, Dr. Thanawet Bunsit, you make me recall of the true taste of Tom Yum, and I miss it a lot. I guess everyone feel the same on how Thailand Tom Yum real taste about. Okay, so what I can get is digital transformation is essential. Everyone, we acknowledge and we consciously apply digital society nowadays, especially in Thailand. They are now entering the industry revolutions of 4.0, which is innovative and value-based industry, which is apply transparency, effectiveness, public data, participation, innovations in technology, and almost all aspects. So hopefully everyone do learn a lot about what Dr. Thanawet Bunsit has presented just now. Then we are proceeding to the next session. The third session of today will be led by our moderator, Miss Wardayani. So we will just welcome Miss Wardayani to moderate the next session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Today I am as a moderator. My name is Wardani. Nggak dengar juga?
Nggak bagus.
Hah? Suaranya udah besar loh. Oh, oke. Today I am as a moderator. My name is Wardani Cici. Sudah? Belum. I am from Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Manajemen Sukma Medan. Our next speaker in international conference today is Professor Mahyudin Nasution. Now, Professor Mahyudin is the Vice Rector for Research, Community Service, and Cooperation, University of Sumatera Utara. The topic from Prof. Mahyudin is data science, and then we invite from Mahyudin to start. To Prof. Mahyudin, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Peace for us all. I talk about the data science. Maybe my impression I will submit this event.
Dia belum berhasil.
Prof. Mahyudin.
Okay.
You can share your presentation, sir.
Okay. I will submit the presentation to the layout.
Prof. Mahyudin, do you have problem?
Yes. Okay. I have problem in my computer. Sorry about this.
Okay. Jangan. Dicat aja. Okay, for the audience, please the moment. Please this moment. Okay, Prof.
Okay.
Okay, please.
Uh, Thank you. I will start by my presentation about that data science. We know this problem about the many issue about the data science today. Uh, some problem is by many label is about not about straightforward and able to work with big data. You know, data scientist is uh, job sexy about now today. Uh, it is the prediction by the Harvard Business Review, and then now is we have a problem about the infrastructure, learning, and curricula and syllabi about the data mining in undergraduate, postgraduate. Uh, we have some problem this about the concept. The data mining is not finished talking about them. Now, we have the growth document about data science in the one one the database, table database, Scopus in in the in the five five the 5 years latest we have the exponential the code document. Uh, this is the meaning. This is main that many discussion about the data mining is not conflict about the many field supporting the data science. Definition the data science we have not complete about until now. We have one of them because the data science is not yet have definition to express is the established science. Data science involving file existing definition reflects this uncertainty with overload time inconsistency. And then data science is a relative new field which has gained considerable attention in generation years. And then new field and wide range knowledge requires skill from the different discipline about mathematics, statistics, computer science, and information science. And then mathematics as a basic of science, we have the problem support the mathematics for data science. We have the three adjective from mathematics. One, the problem is the issue of the convergence, where the issue how to reduce of the dimension to small dimension. And divergence, one issue. Another is divergence in mathematics is the many of the function and the transformation of the small dimension to large the dimension. Therefore, the mathematics is basis of every data science. Even though data science is not not uh, part of the mathematics, because the purpose of the data science is to overcome the first of the dimension. The problem, the issue, big issue, this mathematics is how to reduce how to the solution about the first of that dimension. Many terminology about the data science is the first terminology is about the statistic, and then some terminology, some research say data science is datalogy. We have this the statistic in the mathematics, why the mathematics is the basis of science. Statistic is always the model about the convergence. We have now set data, set of data, and will transfer into the value in 0 and 1 in range. And then this is the probability definition about the statistic. Of course, we have the problem. The statistic is whole only about the data full era, not big data in now. Therefore, we have a statistic in many problem to transform big data to knowledge. In one side, statisticians are finding the place in the emerging field of data science. Many issues consider new in data science have long histories in statistics. But data management, learning, and data visualization are not part of statistics. Anyway, uncertainty is not probability only, but the fuzzy set and rock set. Okay, we have now about the computer science. The computer science using many function problem in programming and the algorithm is divergent issue. Example, we have the one set data D array in computer programming. This is the main because of the mathematic dimension drive the complexity of the programming. Data science in inherent interdisciplinary field and not exclusively a computer science. This is the conclusion about the data science and computer science because it. And now many challenge for data science, mainly complexity and spatial and temporal reasoning and about the managing uncertainty. Okay, we next. Data science is science extraction meaning from the potential complex data. This is conclusion about the many about the document in the database index database. Data science is field which multidisciplinary blend and of data inference, algorithm development, and technology combined in order to solve analytically complex problem. However, many definition and many the syllabi and curriculum is the focus more the abstract processes and pipelines and workflow and less and how data science work engage with the data. So in many fields, consider the data science as the tools. We have the concept of the data science in use. They are using data science is having profound impact of the number of areas, including commerce, health, and smart city. We have now we know about the data science is this time of data science 19 At 3 is data science document, the document in health researchers. And then data science not about the not what about the statistic. Therefore, we have the data science is mandatory in the today's business to capitalization and achievement and asset. This is the tool. Data science is a tool. The tool is technology. Data science is technology, not science. Poor science. We have the example about the how to get the problem existence data science. We know every object in universe has more than one feature and more than uh, many feature in the object. Uh, in information line like internet and web, many feature for any object. We have to create to extraction from the internet and the web using some method. We have P2 and their measurement, and it is a criteria about the object. Many feature so it will be multi criteria, and then the R variable we X criteria becomes a variable. We have no symbolic in the mathematics. We have x1, x2, x3, and xn. So, and now we have the many problem in the object about the data science is data, large data and big data is multi-object. Each object has different interests by different parties. Each interest of the stakeholder is present in the form of the function. We have the model, model of the in mathematics. We have the one f, x1, x2, and xn. This is the model of the objective, and then goal is the max or mean of the model. Function is we have the considered is as the function as the operator. We have the operator, the binary operator, and other. Let's f the operator is a linear function. The RSO the also a constant ABC operation as the comparison value for the x variable the order. Explicitly, we have the model linear fx x1 x2 x3. We have the x1 x2 and this is the and then we have the new subject about the we use in the data science for one subject. The all the old definition is the optimization and maybe linear programming and integer programming. We have the MODA is appreciation, multi-objective criteria, and decision analysis. It's the subject, new subject, based on multi-object and multi-criteria. We have the model, min or max, one function, one objective function, max or min, one objective another. This is with the constraint many line and many criteria is the from the multi criteria we have done. This is the issue about data. Now we have the data dimension is a problem. Many problem in the data. We have the prediction historical data and data qualitative and quantitative. We have the data internal, external in the organization. We have the trend about the data. And then some this is all the issue about data is internally in data, but from the external we have the all issue about the human see about data, and then we have the human using some tool to extraction maybe for example and some activities in about the data many tool using them use them now we have the how to drive the methodology to to get the knowledge from the data. It is the many issues about the okay. Last about this session is science data requires new subject or subject that redefine according to required expertise. Okay, thank you for your attention. Thank you for the committee invite me for this conference, and thank you for the moderator to for the this session. Thank you for all.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Mayudin, for your presentation. For the audience who want to ask question, you can ask by two ways. The first, you can type on chat, and the second, you directly raise your hand in the end of the presentation. The next, we can give to Mr. Benny.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, keynote speakers all has done their presentations. Now we are proceeding to questions and answer session. So for first session, we will lock 3 questions firstly to be answered, 1 questions for each speaker. Now on my list, I have already got 1 questions for Dr. Tanawit Bunsit. Okay, so the questions is from Mr. or Mrs. Sugeng. The questions is, tourism is the most important sector in Thailand. Could you please tell us in detail how does Thailand overcome the impact of COVID-19 on its tourism industry? So these questions refer to Dr. Tanawit Bunsit. The question is, tourism is the most important sector in Thailand. Could you please tell us in detail how does Thailand overcome the impact of COVID-19 on its tourism industry? Please, Doctor, for the answer.
Okay. You hear me? Okay.
Okay, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes, it's clear.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, Doctor, you can please
Okay.
give the answer.
Thank you for the question. Tourism is very important for Thailand. You know, we got lots of income from tourism. We have lots of many beautiful places in Thailand. The COVID have a lot of impact on our tourism sector. So at the beginning in March, April, since March, the end of March and April, we have to close all the hotels and tourism industry have to be closed down, and the government have lots of method to help the industry. So, for example, the government have a subsidy, the compensation for the business owners, the entrepreneur, tourism entrepreneurs. So the government help that. For example, for the individuals, the government give 5,000 baht, 5,000 baht per month per person. And the next step is the government. Now at the moment, the government have another scheme. The second scheme is to give the subsidy, give some money for people to travel in domestic travel. So the people can apply for this money, and they can get this money and they can spend in the whole country. So this can help the tourism business to come back. And there is lots of scheme. For example, the 40% discount for the airplane, and for the some price reduction for the hotel, for the food industry. So this can help in the domestic tourism. And now we are open, totally almost 100% open. So now people traveling around in Thailand, in Bangkok, traveling around already. And I think next week, for example, on the metro, people can sit next to each other already in the train. And for international tourism, we're gonna do the scheme called, if you heard about tourism bubble. The tourism bubble is, so the tourism bubble, this idea is we have to set the destination, the country that tourists can travel between 2 countries. We have to set one by one. For example, Macau, Hong Kong, Myanmar, Vietnam, the country that can control the COVID infected people already, so we can allow the move of tourists between 2 bubbles, 2 countries. So this will happen soon. So after this, the government have other schemes to help the hotels as well. For example, some hotels, the government use the hotel to be the place for quarantine, state quarantine. So the government pay for that hotels, and then the hotel get the money from the government, from the use that for quarantine. And there are more and more scheme from the government. So you can see that since the COVID happened in the early this year, the government has the step of helping one by one, but it's not really, it's a little bit not fast enough, because this is quite new. COVID, this is very big event, big job. So the government try to make it faster, make it help all the entrepreneurs. Okay, so I hope everything come back to normal soon in Indonesia as well. I hope everything is coming back, so we can travel between Thailand and Indonesia. Okay, thank you. I hope it helps. Any more questions or any comments or discussion?
All right, thank you, Dr. Tanawit Bunsit, for the answer. Hopefully the answer is good enough for the one who asked. Okay, now we have one questions already for Mr. Tanawit Bunsit, but we will drop questions first for another speaker. So from the questions of Mr. Tanawit Bunsit will be for the next session. We will give opportunity to another questions for another two guest speaker firstly. So audience, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions for Professor Mahyudin and also Professor Dr. Shahrul? Please drop us your questions, or you can wave or give us signal so we can you can ask directly live to the keynote speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please. Anyone? Ladies and gentlemen, any questions?
Di forum chat itu ada lihat. Oke, sebentar deh.
Maybe I have give the information about the data science, little information. Universitas Sumatera Utara collaboration with the ITP, ITP the Thailand and ITB Indonesia, Netherlands University, and Athens University has conducted the survey of the only 50% of the higher education alumni who can work using big data. This is the main problem about the now, mainly during and COVID-19. This information to maybe we think together now. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mahyudin, for the information. Okay.
So there's a question for Dr. Shul. It's a private chat from someone, Tengku Muhammad Diansyah. So their question is, as the massive development of the technology, it's predicted that in the future, there are some jobs or occupations that will be disappear. Some jobs of human will be changed by robot. Natural resources will be totally explored. all work and skill orientations are being changed into artificial intelligence. Meanwhile, not all the human resources are ready for the situations. This development also really changed the culture of the human that live moral values. So, which one should we follow? Following the development of the technology, but how do we solve the problem when we face that, when we know that there are some, or there are thousands or millions villages are not ready yet for the development of the technology? Please, Dr. Sharul.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Yeah, let me answer the question in two folds. Now, the first fold, they asked either when AI development is increased, therefore human working opportunity for the human is decreased. Now, yeah, I do agree on that. That statement is that when the applications of AI it's more developed, therefore there's some workforce will be reduced. For instance, even in my university, what happened is that we developed a lot of system. Therefore, the number of people working the administrations is reduced. However, though, because of this kind of development, yes, there will be some area will be decreased in terms of workforce. But what happened is that we increase the development requirements of people needed in other fields. For example, the one who capable of writing the codes and know the AI. So it's not necessary by developing by having a lot of improvement in AI requirement of the AI. We don't have a lot of work, not necessarily, because some area the workforce will be increased. As I say, we need more scientists on working in this area, or more programmer to do the system. So, but I don't think like millions of people will be lost their job. Yes, at the moment, when it's happened at the beginning, yes, there will be people who lost their job. But human as a history track shown us that we tend to be more, what I call, more creative when have an issue. There are other fields that also can be built up. So it's not necessarily a bad thing when the AI improve a lot of requirement job for AI, but it's also opportunity. So that's one answer. By the way, I read some private, some people ask me how to measure the contributions or innovation, research contribution or innovation. Measurements of the research contribution is for me, of course, it's when the research is being used in daily life. That is the main contribution. But however, though, because of the levels of technology involved, especially in AI, sometimes it's not ready yet for the ordinary people. So most of it goes to the military application rather than the civilian applications, right? So if you want to ask me whether how to measure the research contribution or innovation, I believe it can be applied to human, rather the civil applications or the military applications. I think I give the answer. Thank you.
Tunggu. Siapa? Sarah. Tunggu.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Professor Shahrul, for the answer. Now, that's the first round of the questions and answer. Now we go to second round. We will have another questions for every keynote speaker. For the first questions, refer to Dr. Tanawit Bunsit. So these questions will be given by Ms. Juliana. She would like to ask directly to Doctor, sorry. So for the time, please. Ms. Juliana.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tanawit, I have one question for you because I'm involving in one higher education in Medan. So I just would like to listen. Would you please share your experience about how to motivate the lecturer in the university, especially in Thailand University that you are currently involving now, about how to motivate them to enhance the learning society by using digital technology? Because Medan, as far as I know, is not as advanced as Thailand. So would you please share from your perspective from the sides of Thailand University itself? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will share my experience at my university in Songkhla, in the south of Thailand. We are the small university. We are public university, and we have all equipments, all digital technology provide to lecturer, and all lecturer have access to the training, the facility to provide and to create the online digital classroom. And we did this the last 5 years, and it failed, not success. All lecturers is against the digital classroom, against all the online activities or all the techniques or anything. But COVID is a good thing. This is a good benefit of COVID because now is we have no choice. We have to use online. We have to use technology to help to continue our class. So what our university do is we have training, like a compulsory training for all faculty. So everybody have to go to training and learn how to use application, how to create new application, how to create tools, the media for classroom media or anything. So finally, when everybody use it, and we set the group on Facebook, on Line, you know Line, right? Similar to WhatsApp, but in Thailand it's popular online application. So all the lecturers have to put their work on Facebook, show to their peers, their colleagues. This motivate each other to use new techniques, new application. For example, Supertive or Kahoot, if you know, they can make on the mobile phone to make some games, some questions, and link to and send to students. So I think it's a good idea that university level have to set the training for all lecturers. The second is to set the group, and everybody have to put your material, your ideas, your innovation to motivate each others or the lecturers. I think this.
All
And
right.
Hello.
good luck for the
Yeah.
using digital classroom.
All right.
Hello.
Thank you, Dr. Tanawit Bunsit, for the answer and also sharing the strategy on how Taksin University is doing so far. For the next questions will be questions for
Yeah,
Professor
kenapa?
Shahrul.
So there is another questions for Dr. Syahrul. It's from Solihatul Hamidah. This is a simple question. What will you suggest to decrease the number of cyber victims? Because by the advance of technology, there are so many data robbing, sexual harassment, and so on. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Okay, the question is from Solihatul Hamidah. What will you suggest to decrease the number of cyber victims? Because by the advance of technology, there are so many data robbing, sexual harassment, and so on.
Okay, all right. Well, that's even though it's a simple questions, but it's actually there's so many ways to answer that question. But I try to make it short, right? Data robbing and stealing, that's one issue, and what I call bullying is another issue actually. For the data robbing, that's why whatever mechanism or software that we use during the online, we as a user need to make sure we knew actually what's going to happen. I mean, we need to choose properly. And you don't put some very sensitive data online. Make sure that the platform is quite secure. But of course, some of the user they tend to forget the importance of this thing. They publish some very sensitive data, the ID number and everything. So you need to be careful in terms of the behavior. I mean, what I'm saying here is be careful on the behavior of as a user. But as a developer, that's another story. As a system developer, there's a lot of mechanism we can use to improve the system security. And that's another point. So that would be the first answer. And the second answer is about bullying. Bullying, it's about psychology. That's what I mean. No matter what people saying about us in the website or in any platform of chatting, it's about psychology, whether we as a user can accept it or not. So actually, bullying is about bullying is about psychology, but governments who in charge of the ICT in their country perhaps can also take part of controlling the information sharing throughout the web. For example, in Malaysia, we have this rules be used. If you caught forwarding the incorrect or not correct informations, then the police can take actions to you. So to us. So I hope they answer the questions. Then. All right.
All right, thank you, Professor Syahrul, for the answer. Now we have next questions for Professor Mahyudin. This question is for Mr. Samsuryadi, Ketua LPPM Unsri. Okay, Professor Mahyudin, the question is how to measure the research contribution or innovation. The question is how to measure the research contribution or innovation. Professor Mahyudin, would you please?
Okay. This is a good question. Thank you for the question. Contribution about the research, how to get it. Maybe we must the conduct piece about the how to get knowledge in the literature to get the many issue about the subject research. Of course, we have the many issue in the subject research. Of course, the state of the art uh, about it. It is a key for the contribution. Maybe this is my answer about this question.
Okay, thank you, Professor Mahyudin, for the answer. All right. Okay. All right. So we have one last questions for this session. So the rest of the questions, maybe ladies and gentlemen, you have more questions to be asked, you can drop us a message. So we will proceed to the speaker and it will be answered after this session done. So we will just answer this one last questions coming from Mr. Santot Suciarto. This refer to all speaker. Okay. So the question is, will it be ecotourism of small group tourists as the coming solution? The objects of tourism destinations will be in the remote area, meaning social distancing. I repeat once again the questions. Will it be ecotourism of small group tourists as the coming solution? The objects of tourism destinations will be in the remote area, meaning social distancing. So this refers to all speakers. For any speaker who would like to answer, you can please. Professor Shahrul, maybe?
Maybe I can share a little bit about the
Okay.
tourism. Yes, ecotourism, small group ecotourism can be one solution for during this time to keep the social distancing. But that means if you get a small group of tourists, it means the income of entrepreneurs will reduce. So how we can keep the economy growing? How we can keep that? So maybe you have to increase the value added to your ecotourism. You can have some activity, some products that can increase to attract tourists, high income tourists, or attract tourists to spend more during the activity, doing activity at the destination. So maybe you have to do some creative or innovative tourism, creative tourism. Now in Thailand, we have a lot at the moment. For example, near my village, there are lots of coffee shops, and they try to, and in Indonesia, in Medan, in Malaysia, you have a lot of coffee as well. So maybe you can use coffee and try to make it interesting. For example, in Thailand now we have some coffee infused with some fruits or some other new flavor. So to make it unique. So when you make it unique, so maybe people want to come more, and you have to set the target and make it more valuable. And the second one is maybe you don't is a solution, but maybe mass tourism. We can if we have the security, the safety scheme very strict, very norm. It's a new normal in the future. Maybe in the future, it's a big group can come to the same destination with the safety regulation, for example, with the mask, with the gel, the sanitizer, with all the regulation can be used. So it can be both. But it depends on we have to try to find the balance when to make it small, when you make it big. So I suggest the flexible scheme. So you have to set the entrepreneur have to set the scheme very when to be strict, when to be lenient, so it can be changed all the time. Yeah.
All right, thanks for the answer, Dr. Tanawit. That's the opinions of Dr. Tanawit. Now we may listen to Professor Mahyudin's opinion about these questions. Professor Mahyudin, please.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yes, please, Professor.
What the question?
Oh, the question is, will it be ecotourism of small group tourists as the coming solution? The objects of
Oh,
tourism destination will be in the remote area, meaning social
okay.
distancing.
Okay, I know. Um, all country they rely on the privilege of an area of tourism experience degradation and drastic reduction in income is the problem about the tourism now during COVID-19. For example, we have the Lake Toba as the main destination for world tourists. So far, there are not many visit, so it is not felt as a wall, but yeah, the area and zone about another is the problem because the gate of the tourism is cities and airport is the in the red zone about the uh, destination of the area tourism. And then for example, we can see the Medan as tourism gate is in the red zone. This is affecting all tourism activity in other area. And now we have the solution how to solution and get the solution about this. Maybe we have the border the area and we get the areas and in the yellow and green zone to to the get at the for the get uh, the tourism. Maybe this is the uh, uh, answer from me.
All right, thank you, Professor, for the answer. Now we would like to listen to the last for Professor Shahrul. For these questions, the same questions, Professor Shahrul.
Okay. From my opinion, first of all, there are two steps need to consider before we can accept the tourism to come back in any place. The first one is that the governments need to make sure that the area must be green area, meaning that there's no infections of COVID-19 to that area. And when the area is gazetted as a green area, whereas there's no COVID-19 around, and I believe the best way is to have social distance in that particular resort, for example, or hotel. Perhaps we can start maybe 1/4 of the full size of the resort of the hotel instead of to get everyone to the area, so that in case it will make everyone safe. But the important thing is the government have to make sure or the government have to make sure that the area is free from the COVID-19 first, because if the infections of COVID-19 is still persist on that area, I don't think so by having this tourism back again is a solution. It will make things worse, will drag the time. It will impact the tourism more prolonged compared to if you not be careful. So I think that is my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to all our keynote speaker, Professor Shahrul. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those who have questions, you can drop us that we will refer to the keynote speaker to be answered. Our questions and answer session has been done. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end part of our presentation. Thank you for all guest speaker who has delivered the presentation. Hopefully all audience, honorable guests, and also ladies and gentlemen, all the materials has been given from the keynote speaker will be beneficial for everybody. Thank you for the attention, also the enthusiasm, and I'll see you on another occasions on conference. I will give back the control to our host of today, Mr. Benny Ifandi. So Benny.
So ladies and gentlemen, that was all the presentation from the presenters. But before we close our conference today, I hope all of you, all the participants, turn your camera on because we are going to have the photograph together. So please, to all the audience, please turn on your camera. Foto session.
Pak, ini harus ambil 4 kali berarti ya? Harus ambil 4 kali berarti ya? Harus ambil 4 kali ya? Iya kan? Biar dapat semuanya. Maju dulu itu kan. Ladies and gentlemen, please wait a moment. We are taking on the venue picture firstly.
Oh iya. Berapa split?
Dah? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please pause once again because we have 80 participants. We need to take for more than one time. Udah semua? Udah semua? Udah semua, Pak?
Belum, masih 2.
Kasih aku kalau masih 2, 3. Harus take 4 kali, Pak. 1, 2, 3 kali gitu. Jadi slide-nya di next. Maaf ya Bapak Ibu.
Dari Bapak boleh, dari sini boleh.
Kita ambil 4 kali ya Pak. Nanti pas sekarang take, habis itu bisa diganti second slide, baru take lagi dulu. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please pose ya together. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next slide dulu. Kasihan lah Pak. Ayo Pak, Bapak ikut. Udah ya?
Woi.
Yang penting udah di screenshot ya Pak, sudah ya? Sudah ya? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the pictures and join us and friends. Kumpul doang.
Ini apa?
12.45. Okay, we are coming back to the conference on 12:45. Now we are having break for a moment. And ladies and gentlemen, please come back to us on 12:45 p.m. Thank you.
Appreciation to Indonesia dulu.
Udah tadi.
Belum ya?
Udah tadi. Oh,
Okay, see you all, ladies and gentlemen.
Putih loh.
Itu Bapak bilang tadi gitu, makanya jadinya kayak gitu.
Bang Dian, orangnya udah bisa close apa gimana? Nanti join lagi ya.
Kalau misalnya Bapak sering ngomong, bisa jadi konsultan aja. Jadi Bapak punya kendali, nggak Bapak? Bapak ada yang ambil. Bapak, misal contoh kita ada 3 moderator. Moderator kan juga bisa saling backup kan? Jadikan co-host. Jadi Bapak itu host.
Kalau nunggu Bapak ini kasih apa ya?
Iya, kasihan. Iya.
Mereka udah boleh sign out, udah boleh leave. You may leave now. You may leave now.
Gak ada yang pusing, masa yang pusing?
Jelas bacanya. Gak jelas bacanya.
Can you hear?
Di belakang.
Can you hear me? Our flight from abroad to Thailand will be open again. So in September, maybe you can fly from
Oh, mereka ngobrol.
from Indonesia to Thailand. So you are welcome to Thailand, or you can visit.
Ano? Ang kung ada na